becoming clearer and clearer that congressmen and senators are indeed high-profile targets, and we ought to, at a minimum, have a right to defend ourselves.
Joining me now is Republican Congressman Jody Arrington of Texas. And Congressman, thank you for being here with us this evening and afternoon.
Well, greetings from West Texas, Arthel.
They're in Lubbock. Are you in Lubbock?
Yeah, the Hub City, home of Buddy Holly and the Red Raiders.
I know Texas. I went to school in Austin and lived in Houston and Dallas, so I love Texas. But let me get to this important bill here that we're talking about. Congressman,
you bet.
What do you think of Congressman Bo Brooks's bill?
Well, I think he's right in principle. We need to be able to protect ourselves. You can beef up security, and no doubt there's being a comprehensive review by Capitol Hill Police and other law enforcement agencies on how they can do a better job, especially when you have such a high concentration of high-profile people in high-risk situations. But at the end of the day, I think that the best thing we can do is make sure that we have our constitutional rights to keep and bear arms and protect ourselves. And by the way, where I would take exception with Mr. Brooks, who's a good man, is that this shouldn't be something that's special for members of Congress. We need Americans to be able to protect themselves. I mean, the same day this happened, you had an incident at a UPS facility in California, in San Francisco, where people actually died. So there are mass shootings and the rise of terrorist attacks. We need to make sure that people, citizens, have their fundamental right to keep and bear arms, protecting themselves and their community. I think that's the best strategy going forward.
By the way, pardon me, it's Congressman Mo Brooks. So you're suggesting, Congressman Arrington, that, listen, not just Congress, congressional members and lawmakers, you're saying everyone should have the right to carry concealed weapons. I know Texas is a state that is on board with that. Do you feel that this could be let me just, I'm sorry for the second part of this. Do you feel, though, that there could be landmines in place with everybody carrying concealed weapons? What could go wrong?
What could go wrong is that the good guys have a harder time getting firearms to protect themselves. They have a harder time moving throughout the country because of a lack of reciprocity. I mean, look, we have reciprocity, for example, with driver's license. That's not a fundamental right, as we articulated in the Declaration, endowed by God and secured by our government. But being able to protect yourself from the bad guys is. And I'm supporting a bill that will allow for that reciprocity, and I believe it will get to the House floor. We'll see what happens from there. But yeah, we as congressmen, members of Congress, and other elected officials should be able to carry but I don't think that should be something reserved just for elected officials. There are plenty of folks, quite frankly, if you're traveling to the nation's capital and you're walking the mall, you need to be able to protect yourself from a mass shooting at the Lincoln Memorial or at the Washington Monument or anywhere else. So this shouldn't be reserved just to members of Congress. This should be reserved to the American people who are all endowed with those sacred rights.
I may get back to that if I have time, but let me ask you this. Is there a different solution that you'd like to offer, and would it help to tone down the rhetoric on Capitol Hill?
Well, you know, even before this incident, Arthel, I'd say that we need to tone down the rhetoric. I don't think it's helpful. For example, I heard that Hillary Clinton is talking about how many people would actually die on account of the health care reform bill coming out of the Senate. That's not helpful. You know, we have people that are unstable and not sane and who cannot handle that kind of information, who take it and say, well, this is a righteous cause now. I can save thousands of people if I take matters into my own hands. I mean, we've got to be more responsible. But long before these incidents, I thought we needed to change the culture of Washington. And I actually introduced my second piece of legislation with a Democrat from a very liberal district in California, a former Obama administration official, me being from a conservative district in Texas, and a former George W. Bush official. So we did that because of relationships and friendships. I'm committed to that. I think my freshman class is, and we got to change the culture. We got to change the tone. It's like planting a tree. The best time to do that is 20 years ago, and today we're starting today, and I hope that'll bear fruit in the near future.
Well, I hope it does too, Congressman, because I think there's a lot of rhetoric and name calling and, and shots across the bow and everything that's just not really good for getting the job done there in D.C. and not good for the country. But we have to leave it. Thank you, Congressman Jody Arrington there in Texas. Don't mess with Texas.
Great to be with you.
Thank you. And I want to let you know that you can see more of that interview with Congressman Brooks and his new bill on Water's World. That's airing at 8 p.m. Eastern